This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by domain.com.
Hello, welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust, and we do not have a DefCon hangover, do we?
No, not at all.
As you guys know, DefCon is definitely conventional. It is a fantastic conference, the nation's largest, I believe, hacker conference in Las Vegas. We love to go every year and meet the peoples and sell the pineapples and talk to all the awesome.
And this is the part where we go picture, picture, picture.
Yes.
Yay!
Lots of pictures of people's faces blurred out because, of course, you have to be very respectful at conferences such as these. So we have a great lineup of interviews for you guys, all taken in, of course, the ominous white van, as to protect everybody's privacy.
You know, I have a little interesting fact that I learned this year about, you know, how you're not supposed to take pictures of people without their permission. Well, it doesn't really work so well if you're a podcaster. So I noticed while we were standing behind the booth, random people would put up their cameras really high and just start snapping pictures of us.
The truth of the matter is the DEF CON photo policy has not been enforced for years. There's quite, if you go to the DEF CON forums, you can find more than you ever wanted to know about opinions on it. But essentially, the gist is you're supposed to be respectful at a hacker conference, not just DEF CON. You're not supposed to just snap pictures of people, even though you're in a weird way in private, but in
most
public.
People did ask, but whenever they didn't, I'd just be like, "Thank you for asking."
Shannon, you're a public figure, being a podcaster.
I'm still a part of the same crew, at DEF CON and everything. Everybody should ask.
I took selfies with fans, and it was awesome.
I did too, and it was so fun, especially at the pool party. Yay!
Yeah. We actually don't have any throws or anything from DEF CON, as there's too many people around and we're trying to do that, so we don't have any way to do, like in film, there's like geometry and doing like an establishing shot to kind of give you a sense, so maybe we can flash a picture and you guys can understand that we're doing awesome interviews in the big white van. And yes, that was fun. Hey, you know what, speaking of like, recording and stuff, and the big white van, as we took it, we found great parking in the vendor area, and we were looking for, we were packing the van to bring it to DEF CON to sell awesome stuff like pineapples and duckies and allow us to continue having more seasons of Hak5. I found something in my dirty laundry, which was in one of the overhead bins. You
found the lost camera?
I found the lost camera, which means we now have the B-roll from the tour camp episode.
A little late.
It's a bit late. It's a bit late. But we've got great little snippets like this and like that one. And you totally missed this one too. Like, look at those. Those are great clips that we could have shown during the... We're going to have to, have a...
Way to go, Darren.
So we're just going to redo those episodes now.
Poor Darren. Yeah, we're going to redo all of them.
Yes.
Yay.
Actually, let's do a director's cut. Just start back on episode 1.
Okay.
Okay.
No. So we have some really, really cool segments this week. I talked to a girl named Maggie who, hair dryers are involved. Seriously, it's pretty cool. We talked to a dude that has a cat, which was awesome. And also you chatted with the Wireless Village guy.
Yes, I talked to Russ from the Wireless Village. So we've got wireless cats and hair dryers coming right up. Stay tuned.
So I love cats and dogs, everybody knows this, and Gene Bransfield from Tenacity, so you have a talk coming up on Sunday, all about cats and dogs and GSM and tracking, so I have to know what's going on, because I have 2 cats at home, and the idea of making them do things for me sounds really, really fun. So
my research indicates that you can't make a cat do anything you want them to, so.
Just feed them treats.
Exactly. So my talk is called Weaponizing Your Pets, the War Kitteh, and the Denial of Service Dog.
War Kitteh. So you're weaponizing him. Does that mean I'm going to stick a gun on top of my cat?
No, it
does. Lasers?
No, it does not. No. What I got is a Wi-Fi sniffing solution, basically similar to War Driving, in a form factor that will fit on the collar of a cat. And you send the cat for a walk about and collect stuff when it comes back.
And they'll actually wear it?
They will wear it.
What?
Yeah, one of my cats caught a mouse while he was wearing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so tell me about how this works.
Okay, so earlier, so I had the idea because I do a lot of information security briefings to people who are not technical in nature. And so when I start getting the least bit technical, they start glazing over and start thinking of jujubes or whatever it is they think of.
I'm familiar.
Yes. And so to make things more interesting, I started including funny pictures of cats and stories about cats, and it became notorious for giving briefings like that. And somebody came up and they offered me a cat collar. They never delivered it, but they offered it. And it had a GPS component, and it had a cellular component, and it would track where your cat had been.
Yeah, I've heard
and if you got nervous, you could send it a text and it would reply to you with where the cat was.
Yeah, they're great if your cat goes outdoors, might get lost, might not come back. So
me being the guy I am, I thought, well, now all I need is a little Wi-Fi sniffer, and I got a War Kitteh.
Well, the Wi-Fi sniffers I know of, they're kind of big.
Yes, they are, but I was messing around with stuff. My first thought was to strap a cell phone onto the cat, because I just downloaded Wiggle to a very small Android phone, strap it to the cat, and send it out on a walkabout. But that ended with mass disaster.
Oh no.
I lost my cell phone and I never got it back. Cat didn't come back for quite a while. We were worried about it, so we needed something smaller and more dangerous. So a friend of mine suggested, why don't you use an Arduino and get the very small chipsets. It's a form factor, gets a little bit of power consumption, does exactly what you need it to do and no more, and it'll probably fit on a cat. So I started down that route.
Okay.
I ended up using a Spark core chip, which is they're a Kickstarter company, Spark.io. Very, very cool stuff.
Yes.
And got it down to the form factor. It had an ARM chip on one side, a Wi-Fi chip on the other side, that with a small GPS antenna and an SD card breakout board, and we're good to go. We have the solution right here.
So was this code written anywhere already?
Oh, hell no, no.
You had to make everything.
I had to make, well, not everything. The people posted, the libraries were not readily available on Spark.io when I got there. They are now. But people were posting it to the forums, and there was a very robust and very responsive developer community associated with Spark.io.
Yes.
And the only thing that I had to code up was the GPS, and I was able to port that over from the tiny GPS++ drivers that were online available for Arduino.
So what language did you have to write this in?
It's in C++.
C++? Okay,
whatever.
cool.
Yes, I'm not a coding expert, so there's...
The one that works with Arduino.
Exactly. People, you know, true code people will be like, it's not real C++. Sorry, it worked for what I needed it to, so...
And everything else was written out online somewhere. The libraries were available.
The libraries were available. I had to download them, compile them, make them work specifically with my stuff. A few messing around with variables aside, and I finally got it working. It took months and months, but it finally got it.
Okay, so while your cat is out and about and you're Wi-Fi sniffing, how do you get all that data back?
It records it to an SD card that's in the collar, and you recover it when it comes back.
Okay.
Hopefully it comes back with your collar on it, yes.
Do you have a battery built in as well?
Yes, I used a small E-Flight battery, which people use for their drones flying around there. My buddy Ricky Hill hooked me up with that, and it had a similar, it had enough power in this form factor that would fit in the collar, so that's what I went with.
So how long did it last?
Depends on how frequently you gather information, and if your cat goes and hides under a bush. So in my testing, if I did collections every 30 seconds, it lasted 4 hours. If I did it every 10 minutes, it lasted 8 hours.
Wow.
I went with 5 minutes, and that lasted about 6 hours. Although in testing, it only did 3 hours of collections. It's probably because cats kept going under bushes and stuff. I haven't figured out the problem.
Did you have any problems with your cat going into water or anything like that? Or?
No, cats generally avoid water. I do have everything wrapped up in electrical tape inside here to prevent the weather getting to it. And also the Spark is rather flashy, and I didn't want a bird of prey to be flying over, see a flashing light, and take care of my War Kitteh.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So rule number 0 is I don't want to harm the cat. So
that's awesome.
That's what I did. Everything I did, tried not to hurt the cats at all.
Okay, now, so we know how that works. Is this data available anywhere? Have you put it out?
Which data is it?
The code for this, as well as the.
See, nobody ever asked. I came here thinking that nobody would pay attention to this, and I've gotten a lot of attention.
Some viewers out there are going to be like, I want to do one too.
So if you go to Spark on the Spark.io on the forums there's plenty of this code floating around. You can probably download it and throw it on your Spark chip yourself. Good luck with soldering. I enjoyed it.
Soldering is awesome.
Oh yes, oh yes, for people who hate themselves. Yes.
I have little fingers. I'm able to do it very easily.
I was not.
Okay, so tell me about the dog collar.
The dog's not a collar. It's basically it's a backpack, and I made up patches that say "Denial of Service Dog." And the crazy part is, when people look at the patch, they don't read denial of, they just see service dog and think it's a service dog and let you go wherever you want to, bars, stores, things like
airports.
that. And I had a Wi-Fi pineapple in the dog backpack, and I got a Adafruit TV Begon kit, and I soldered wires to it and ran the wires through the dog backpack and had a button in the leash handle, and you go somewhere, hit the button, and it would fire it off, and it would turn off televisions if they were appropriately configured.
That's bloody brilliant. I'm assuming you had the antennas hidden inside of the backpack.
Yeah, the only thing that was sticking out of the backpack were the IR LEDs.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, worked rather well.
And did you run into any problems with other people whenever you took your dog out into the public?
No, in fact, we did all the testing, and we had a waiter who was, props to the waiter, about the third time back dealing with us, he said, so why does it say denial of service dog? He was the only guy who asked. He did pay attention, but it took him 3 trips to ask, and then we didn't really answer him, and he didn't ask again. So
that's
people
awesome
are trying to be nice to you. Yeah, it is.
Delicious. Nobody suspects the cute little dog.
No, in fact, the dog, in fact, was a Doberman pincer, and a very non-Doberman Doberman, and he loved everybody. And the guy was walking around. He had the leash in one hand. He had his backpack by the handle. He's like, "Come, sit." And the dog's like, "Love you, love you."
Oh,
and
that's so cute.
Everybody was nice, doggy. It's a very service dog.
So the dog one's just mainly to troll people and have some fun.
Yes, there's no socially redeeming qualities whatsoever in the denial service dog.
It's DefCon, whatever.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Gene, for talking to me about these. I think it's super, super awesome. And I can't wait to play with my cats at home. This is going to be super fun. Fun times. Where can people find out more information about you and what you do?
On Twitter at GBransfield.
Okay.
And I don't know, that's about it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Gene.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Thank you.
Doesn't matter whether you use a hairdryer to look this good or take down a power grid. When you've got that killer idea, you need to snag yourself a domain name and web hosting really quickly. And get this, domain.com, they get a very quick domain discovery system and a very easy checkout process. And you know what that means? You will very likely get your website up and running in no time. And I told you guys before how much I love domain.com, and it's pretty brilliantly simple why. I mean, not only are they affordable, reliable, and easy to use, but mainly because they're a fun place to do business. They're active on social media. You can tweet them at domain.com and see why. It's just, they're fun guys. And the guys over at domain.com, get this, huge fans of Hak5, and so they want to hook you up, and get this, they have this coupon code. It's called Hak5. I know, it makes so much sense, and it will save you an extra 15% off. So don't forget to use the coupon code HAK5 at domain.com's checkout. And when you think domain names, think domain.com.
It is now time for the trivia question of the week. Last week's trivia question was, what is the name of the command used to add a user to OS X or OS X box? And the answer is Niutil, N-I-U-T-I-L. Hopefully you guys got that one right. And this week's trivia question is, Apple's FireWire cable was designed to be influenced by what alternative cable from the past? You can answer that at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some awesome Hak5 goodies.
Russ, it is so good to see you, man.
Good seeing you again.
A lot has changed since SmookCon. You are rocking it here with the wireless CTF. We're here at DefCon, and I know that you guys are doing like a 2-phased wireless CTF.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of crazy things going. So we have the Raspberry Pis came back with Pi FM. And we're doing representative transmissions that represent what you would find in the real world, but we're doing it in ISM bands and ham radio bands.
Oh, interesting. So, for example, we talked about this a lot when we started getting into our SDR stuff, where you can pick up, say, ADSB beacons on 1090 megahertz, but do not transmit on that channel or, go to jail.
Yes.
So you're saying stuff like that, except over, I don't know, 900, 433,
yes,
other
exactly.
legal channels.
Exactly, you got it. So that people can see the stuff and mess with it in a safe way. But the final purpose of everything is to be able to get people to mess with this stuff and get back into ham radio and get back into learning what it means to demodulate something and how to demodulate something.
Right. I mean, we're so used to the higher layers of OSI where everything's kind of done for you, especially as like Wi-Fi hackers. We deal with like packets. Maybe we go down to frames, but we just kind of expect that all of that DSSS stuff, all of the OFDM, all of those acronyms that are the amazing little things that make it turn from you know, amplitude and frequencies and turn it into bits.
Bits, yeah. So we have some. So the challenges that we had, like for instance, on that one was a motion detector for a home automation system.
You're saying something like this?
Something just like that, because that is it.
Whoa! And how is this RF?
So it's a wireless motion detector, and every time it's very, very, very sensitive. So every time it picks up motion, it burps out a packet. But it's not just like, you know, on-off sort of stuff. It uses Manchester encoding. So you have to learn different modulation techniques and how to actually deconstruct it into actually being bits and bytes on a wire.
That's interesting. So if you're,
wireless.
Through the wireless. But so what you're saying is, if you're capable of actually learning this, you know, the Manchester encoding, then you can figure out what those packets are, and you could potentially then tune in and be able to tell when someone is in a room.
Yep. And what device sent it.
And moreover, you know, depending on the scope of the engagement, you could potentially legally transmit and make the alarm system believe someone's in a room. Maybe send all the security guards to one room when you're actually infiltrating another.
Or disrupt the system that is actually receiving the packets, like a DDoS attack, without actually jamming. So for instance, it is possible with this particular system to saturate the receiver so much, not through like just making noise, but sending packets, that it cannot receive legitimate signaling. But that's a talk for another time.
That sounds ridiculously awesome.
Thank you. So we actually demonstrated replay attacks over at B-Sides Vegas. We had a 2-day class over there, and in order to easily demonstrate that, I picked up, you know those little keychain things that help you find where your keys are? You press a button and it makes a sound?
Yes.
So what I ended up doing was recorded that transmission, and you can replay it, and what you end up getting are these like little tiny Anoyatron 2000 noisemakers when no one's actively pressing the button. Now the reason why that's possible is it's a dumb device. Who wants to attack something like that? But it's a great demonstration of being able to use these tools in order to do something that could potentially be offensive.
And this is the fun thing about software-defined radio. It's like a whole new realm of hacking, because we find that so many devices that had previously, you know, had security only through obscurity, now that we're actually able to, in the software realm, with tools that we're used to, like, you know, Wireshark and things of that nature, actually dissect how these things work and find out that there's actually, in most cases, no authenticity checks whatsoever.
Correct. Yeah, and that's so. With that as an extension, the injection attack that violates trust was on the wireless keyboard. So Travis Goodspeed did this excellent paper regarding the Microsoft wireless keyboards and their predictability of being able to decrypt them and also inject. So we had, he rewrote the firmware for one of the Hope badges. Well, we had Hope badges with firmware on them so that people could sniff the keystrokes and also inject keystrokes as well.
Whoa, that is rad.
As a part of the challenge. So it's you could just as easily do it with any of the other tools as well, but you know, for practicality's sake, and just, you know, we only have 4 days. Sure. We came prepared with all that sort of stuff.
Well, tell me about the RF case of doom. What is happening here?
So we have 5 Raspberry Pis. Each Pi is transmitting on a different frequency, and with the and each frequency is a flag on its own, and then there's also encoding and modulation that's occurring with each individual one that's representative of the real world sort of stuff. So with 2 of the Pis, I have an RTL connected into them. Okay. So the purpose of that is that it's transmitting. You have to transmit back to it in order to progress in the challenge.
Interesting. So there's like several like gates you unlock as you go through the challenge?
Exactly. Because RTL, well, not RTL, SDR is still a very new thing. People don't seem to, there's a lot of interest, but there's a lot of struggling regarding how to progress personally.
What do you think that is? Do you think that's because we, like a lot of hackers, don't have the fundamental knowledge of how RF works through, like, say, you know, decoding the modulation, or would you say it's a lack of tool sets, or?
We're growing. It's brand new. It's the new shiny thing. So the easiest way that...
Well, it's the old new shiny thing is the fun thing about it.
Yeah. So the way that I describe a lot of these processes is like the joke of, you know, how to draw an owl. Draw 2 concentric circles and then draw the rest of the damn owl. Step 1, step 2. There's like this void somewhere in between, and the community is coming forward and documenting.
So you just need to fill it in.
Exactly. So what we're doing in this is having people learn through actually going through the capture the flag process of learning how to get from point A to point Z and documenting their intermediate
And
steps.
so are you also teaching at the end of the wireless CTF like how to complete the challenge?
Yes, we have an after action, but also before the wireless CTF we had a 2-day class on wireless essentials.
Oh really? Where was that?
That was over at B-Sides Vegas.
Oh nice.
That had the entire wireless CTF team as the instructors. So yeah, they learned from the horses themselves. Whether or not they actually brought that knowledge to the table was entirely up to them, but we'll be doing the exact same thing again over at DerbyCon.
And so many winners?
Yes, we had the first place prizes were more amazingly was Nuon and Great Scott Gadgets donated a Hak5 and Blade RF respectively, but there was also a whole bunch of other sponsorship that came into it as well, from prizes to cash to helping us get here and do this.
This is awesome. So you guys are doing a fantastic job. I love that you're bringing this into the forefront of the community, and the HackerCons is the greatest place to kind of get that exposure. So where are you going next with the evil RF box of doom?
After I get through the airport?
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
So the guaranteed next spot to find this will be over at DerbyCon, and then after that we'll be at various conferences on the East Coast, because that's kind of where we're all centered.
Sure. Where can people find out about the stuff you're doing with the wireless CTFs?
I'm putting the wireless CTF is wctf.us, and then regarding this particular write-up, I'm putting it on sdr.ninja.
Awesome. sdr.ninja.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for having us, and of course, thank you to the Wireless Village at DefCon for hosting it.
Absolutely. I think we had a fantastic time. The biggest success that I think I heard of was that the ham radio exam was the biggest ever.
Wow.
Not just for DefCon, ever.
Wow.
Most people taking the exam at the same time, so I consider that a win, and I hope that we were a part of the interest for doing that.
It was very cool. Thank you again, Russ.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, we're gonna go a little girly geek here, but still, it's pretty hardcore geek, so I think you guys are gonna enjoy this. I'm here with Maggie. Hi Maggie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Shannon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for
Excellent.
asking. I'm really, really tired, but that's okay. It's DefCon. You gotta have fun.
Yep.
And get tired at the same time.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you did a talk just this morning, I believe, about, what's it called again?
GFCI.
GFCI. So what does that stand for?
It stands for Ground Fault Circuit Interrupt.
Ground fault circuit interrupt. So I am so new to anything having to do with, that kind of genre. Please tell me, like, the introduction to what this is.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you're familiar with the little black box that's on the plug of your hairdryer.
Yes.
Yes.
I
So
hate
that
thing.
one, you do?
I hate it.
Because it trips sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a red button and a white button, and essentially what it's meant to do is it's supposed to protect you from going into electric shock. Like if you ever drop it into your tub with you,
Yeah.
or for some reason you touch it and you would ground the. Think of a circuit as water. Okay. So water gets pushed in, and then the water has to go somewhere. So it comes back out,
Right.
and it measures how much current goes out and how much current goes in and how much current goes out. If it notices a little bit of a difference, I think it's about between 5 and 30 milliamps. That's enough to make your heart go into ventricular shock, where your ventricles, instead of contracting normally, they just kind of spaz out.
Right.
So, and it has to do it quick enough so that that doesn't happen, which is between 25 and 40 milliseconds. So I found a way to, in some cases, just trip, but the GFCIs on the 90-degree built-in plugs, actually I can melt them and make them spark and smoke.
Literally?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how does this work?
So I found out really by super chance and mistake, really.
Mistake?
Yeah. I really, really love that I could start my first DefCon talk with, so I was doing my hair the other day.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
You never hear that out of DefCon.
Right? Right? And it seems like the audience digged it, so I was pretty happy.
So you were doing your hair one day.
I was doing my hair one day, and my significant other thought that it would be a brilliant idea if we communicated through RF. We'd save millions in cellular and whatnot. So we bought a couple walkie-talkies and a ton of batteries, and we lived in neighboring complexes, so we thought it might work. And we never really synced as to when we were going to use them, but that day I was doing my hair and I thought I heard the radio in the other room.
Oh.
Someone talking through it. So I ran to the room, grabbed it. Hello, hello, is anyone there? Nothing. So I went back to the bathroom where I was doing my hair and I hit the call button, you know, to make it sound on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I hit it, the GFCI, the plug of my hairdryer vibrated out of control, made a horrible sound, and sparked and smoked. So I was like, what?
So that happened from the radio frequency that you were sending out. What?
The little transformer inside captures and somehow resonates with the frequency that I'm sending. And yeah, the solenoid inside, there's a little metallic, what should we call it, like a bullet, that's supposed to just trigger once hard and break the circuit.
Oh my god.
But I'm doing a really high frequency, so it's smaller waves, so it kind of goes in and out, in and out. That's what causes the vibration, and then it overheats, the plastic melts, and it just never works again. But the problem is that it's hardwired.
Oh my gosh.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the device still works. It's just no longer protected.
Oh.
And there was a news article a few days ago where a little kid died of electrocution because of a GFCI malfunction because they're hardwired shut. I mean, yeah, it's hardwired.
So what frequencies exactly does this work on?
I'm trying not to say. I'm trying not to do a how to do something horrible by Maggie Howdy. So.
How to smoke your things.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will figure it out.
Yeah, I gave a list of suggestions as to what to do and how it could be a bad thing, how it could affect. Because if you just say you could interrupt someone from doing their hair, or you can find these things also on the plugs. Have you noticed, like in your bathroom or the kitchen, where they also have those two little buttons?
Yep.
Yes. So those are vulnerable
too. I hate those things.
Yes.
So how can I protect myself from this happening?
You can do one of a few things. What I thought, the test cases where I thought it would be really bad if these things, because the AFCIs, a different kind of circuit breaker, the ones that are in your garage, are also vulnerable to RF, just different frequencies.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and the bad thing about RF is, well, RF could be, radio frequency interference could be either intentional or non-intentional. So, and the thing is that it's wireless and it's fingerprint free.
Right.
So, that's the danger in it, right? That it could just be an accident, or someone could be trying to do something against you. And what if an old lady lives on her own and depends on a respirator being plugged into the wall?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I've been worried. That
could be really scary.
That makes sense, yes.
Right.
Or this little kid who died in the lake, right?
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing that if you never need it, you barely notice it's there,
right.
But if you need it, it better work.
Yes.
So my suggestions were, if you have a loved one that depends on a machine, then make sure that there's batteries or manual override, and maybe a power generator at the house, so that you have wiggle room to assess the situation. Update to newer patents. The ones that I noticed are most vulnerable, the ones that fire up, and sometimes I would get a piece of component, like a flaming piece of component, fly out.
Oh my gosh.
That could even be a fire hazard.
Wow. So those are older patented items?
Yes,
so
like 50 years old.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, I keep finding them everywhere. I came to the Rio and tried. The first thing I did was try on the wall and the hairdryer here, all vulnerable. My house, vulnerable. Everything I buy on the store is vulnerable. So if we know about this and it's fixed, why is it still there?
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
This is completely new information for me, and I'm really, really interested to learn more. So where can I find more information online about this?
Well, the talk will be published soon. You can follow me on Twitter, and I'll probably,
What's your Twitter
follow
account?
up. It's @MagsHowdy. MagsGauregi.
Lower third.
You can find it on the DefCon speaker talk.
Awesome.
Look for GFCI.
And is there any other information you would like to share with our viewers?
Not that comes to my mind right now.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Maggie.
you, guys.
That was so interesting, and I hope you have a lovely time at DefCon.
Thank you. I have. Thank you, guys.
That just about wraps up this week's episode. But as you guys know, email us feedback@hak5.org. And
Go to our store.
Check your codecs because that was obviously an XVID error. Not my fault.
Go to the store, it's hakshop.com, and buy all the things.
Yes, thank you for everybody that came out to DEF CON and supported us, and also thank you for everybody that's had the patience to understand that we're a small team of 5 people, and so that when we take everyone in the entire company out to DEF CON to make it happen, we come back and try to catch up. And
is this how lockpicking works?
That is how you annoy your co-host.
I got this awesome little beginner's lockpicking set from Tool. I'm gonna give it to my husband.
Awesome.
I hope he learns it.
At that. And as you guys know, you can follow us, hak5.org/follows, where you can find all of the details. And also, you can, while you're at hak5.org, you just go to /brunch over there and find out when we are doing the next Bay Area Hacker Brunch. We met a lot of awesome hackers at DEF CON from the Bay Area, so I hope you guys all make it out to the, actually, I think our next brunch isn't going to be in Point Richmond, it'll be in Marin.
Oh, really?
In the Headlands at a Nike missiles facility.
What?
Yes, we're going to take a look at some Cold War missile tech.
Oh, that's going to be so fun.
Should be awesome.
Cool.
So until then, she's Shannon Morse.
He's Darren Kitchen.
And we're reminding you to trust your Technolust. Oh, somebody's gonna animate a GIF that. Yeah, it's unusable. Just like you, it's unusable.